The quantum detection array at SETI's Mauna Kea facility wasn't supposed to detect anything unusual that night. Dr. Maya Chen had developed the experimental sensor system to search for theoretical quantum entanglement patterns that might indicate advanced civilizations. After 3 years of empty readings, she'd almost convinced herself it was a waste of time. Then every sensor lit up simultaneously. The signal wasn't coming from distant stars. It was coming from Earth's orbit. Dozens of observation points, cloaked by technology far beyond human understanding, suddenly revealed themselves. The watchers had been there all along. Within hours, every major observatory on Earth confirmed the phenomenon. Humanity had lived in a galactic zoo without realizing it. But the revelation of alien observers wasn't what sent governments into emergency sessions. It was the reason they'd reveal themselves. They're running from something, Maya explained to the hastily assembled UN Security Council. Her hands trembled as she manipulated the holographic display. The quantum signatures show their cloaking systems are failing. They're burning out their technology to maintain cover, but whatever's coming has them terrified. Admiral Sarah Hassan, newly appointed head of Earth's Unified Defense Command, studied the data with narrowed eyes. How many observers? 23 distinct species, Maya replied. All more advanced than us. All hiding. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. General Zhang Wei of China's Space Forces raised his voice above the chaos. If these civilizations possess such advanced technology, why hide? Why not help us prepare? The answer came in a transmission that broke through every communication channel on Earth. The hologram that appeared showed a being of crystalline beauty, its form suggesting both plant and animal characteristics. Its voice resonated with harmonic overtones that made human speech seem primitive in comparison. People of Earth, we are the luminary. For centuries we have watched your development, as have others. We revealed ourselves not by choice, but by necessity. The Nexar Empire approaches, and their quantum detection systems will soon discover this sector. We cannot prevent this, but perhaps we can help you survive what comes next. The luminary explained that the Nexar were not merely conquerors, they were harvesters of genetic potential. They sought species with specific markers in their DNA, indicators of future evolutionary paths. Those they found useful, they enslaved and modified. Those they didn't, they eliminated. Your species carries more potential than any we have encountered, the luminary continued. Your DNA contains dormant sequences that could revolutionize the understanding of consciousness itself. The Nexar must not acquire this. In the weeks that followed, Earth's governments did something unprecedented. They united without hesitation. The watching civilizations emerged from hiding, sharing technologies and knowledge in a desperate race against time. But it was Dr. Chen's discovery that changed everything. Working with alien geneticists, she found that human DNA wasn't just special, it was engineered. Ancient markers suggested intervention by a civilization that predated all known species. These sequences, when properly activated, could allow humans to directly manipulate quantum fields with their minds. It's not just theoretical, Maya explained to Admiral Hassan as they watched the first successful test subject, a volunteer named Marcus Rodriguez, levitate a 2-ton block of steel using only his thoughts. We all have this potential. The Nexar aren't coming to harvest our genetics, they're coming to prevent us from awakening it. The implications staggered the scientific community. Humanity wasn't just another primitive species, they were potentially the most dangerous force in the galaxy. The watching civilizations hadn't been studying them out of mere curiosity. They'd been monitoring a sleeping giant. Admiral Hassan ordered immediate implementation of the genetic activation protocol. If the Nexar want to prevent our awakening, she declared, they're already too late. The first signs of the Nexar arrival came 6 months later. Their probe ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, their quantum sensors sweeping for signs of advanced technology. They found nothing. Earth's new allies had helped mask all evidence of their presence, leaving Earth appearing primitive and defenseless. But humanity was far from defenseless. Marcus Rodriguez, now head of Earth's first psychic defense force, stood at the main quantum monitoring station beneath Mount Cheyenne. 10,000 other activated humans linked their consciousness with his, their combined power reaching across space itself. "They're exactly where we want them," he communicated to the Unified Defense Network. "Let them come closer. Let them think we're weak." Admiral Hassan watched the approaching Nexar fleet on quantum-enhanced displays. Humanity had hidden its true nature for millennia without realizing it. Now they would show the galaxy exactly what they have become. "Send the signal," she ordered. "Let every human on Earth know. It's time to wake up." Across the planet, 3 billion humans felt their dormant genetic potential surge to life. The quantum field surrounding Earth rippled with newfound power. And in the void of space, the Nexar fleet had no idea they weren't approaching prey. They were approaching predators. The Nexar fleet's first attack wasn't aimed at Earth's military installations or population centers. Their quantum-tipped warheads targeted seemingly random locations across the globe: ancient sites, geological formations, places of supposed spiritual significance. "They're trying to destroy the activation nodes," Maya Chen explained, her consciousness linked with the global defense network as she analyzed the attack pattern. "They know about the genetic engineering. They're trying to sever our connection to the quantum field." But 3 billion awakened humans weren't going to let that happen. Marcus Rodriguez, floating in a meditation chamber deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, coordinated humanity's response. The combined psychic energy of millions of minds flowed through him, transforming thought into action at the quantum level. Nexar warheads simply ceased to exist, their quantum structures unraveled by human consciousness. The alien fleet reeled in shock. Their most devastating weapons had been neutralized not by technology, but by thought itself. Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Nexar Empire watched in disbelief as his initial strike failed completely. "Impossible," he hissed through his crystalline breathing apparatus. The simulation models showed at least another century before they could achieve awakening. But humanity had done more than simply awaken. They had innovated. Dr. Elena Santos, leading the global genetics research team, had discovered something extraordinary about human DNA. The engineered sequences didn't just allow quantum manipulation. They evolved with use. Every time humans exercised their new abilities, the genetic code adapted and improved. "We're not just activated," she reported to the Unified Defense Council. "We're accelerating. Each generation will be more powerful than the last." The ancient engineers who created these sequences didn't just give us abilities. They gave us the power to grow beyond their own limits. The Nexar, realizing their initial strategy had failed, launched their second phase. Massive ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, deploying millions of biomechanical soldiers. These weren't simple combat units. They were specifically designed to disrupt human consciousness, broadcasting quantum interference patterns that should have disabled psychic abilities. Should have. Instead, humanity adapted. Children, their newly awakened genes more flexible than adults, discovered they could absorb the interference patterns and redirect them. What the Nexar intended as a weapon became a power source for Earth's youngest defenders. Sarah Hassan, now coordinating global military response from quantum-shielded bunkers, watched in amazement as reports came in. 10-year-olds were disabling Nexar battle tanks with a thought. Teenagers were redirecting energy weapons back at their sources. The enemy's technological superiority meant nothing against humanity's rapidly evolving capabilities. But the true turning point came from an unexpected source. Maria Patel, a formerly nonverbal autistic teenager from Mumbai, made a breakthrough that changed the course of the war. Her unique neurological structure, combined with activated genetic potential, allowed her to perceive quantum fields in ways even the ancient engineers hadn't imagined possible. "The quantum field isn't just a tool," she explained, her thoughts resonating clearly through the global network for the first time in her life. "It's alive, it's conscious, and it remembers." Working with Maria, Maya Chen and her team discovered that the quantum field itself contained echoes of the ancient civilization that had engineered humanity's potential. Each human mind that connected to it accessed not just power, but fragments of knowledge left behind eons ago. The Nexer, sensing the danger of this discovery, launched their most devastating assault yet. Their flagship, a planet-sized vessel of impossible geometry, emerged from hyperspace carrying a weapon designed to sever Earth's connection to the quantum field entirely. They never got to fire it. Marcus Rodriguez, linking his consciousness with Maria Patil and a million other awakened humans, reached out through space itself. The quantum field responded to their combined will, and the massive Nexer vessel simply shifted. One moment it was preparing to fire, the next it existed in a parallel reality where Earth had never been. "We are not your prey," Rodriguez broadcast, his thoughts carrying across the void to every Nexer ship. "We are not your test subjects. We are humanity, and we are awake." The remaining Nexer fleet retreated in disarray, but Earth's defenders knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would return with new weapons, new strategies, new ways to try to contain humanity's burgeoning power. But humanity would be ready. In hidden bases around the world, the next generation was already showing abilities that dwarfed their predecessors. Maria Patil and a growing network of neurodivergent individuals were uncovering secrets in the quantum field that reshaped understanding of reality itself. And deep in secure laboratories, Alina Santos and her team had discovered something incredible. Human DNA wasn't just evolving. It was evolving with purpose. The ancient engineers hadn't just given humanity the power to defend itself. They had created a species that could become something entirely new, something that even they hadn't been able to achieve. The question was, what would humanity become? And would the galaxy survive the transformation? The first sign that something had fundamentally changed in human evolution came during what historians would later call the Battle of Luna. The Nexer Empire, having regrouped and analyzed their failures, returned with a fleet 3 times larger than their first assault. But this time, they didn't target Earth directly. They attacked the Moon. Massive mining vessels began carving into the lunar surface, extracting specific minerals that their scientists had identified as crucial to human quantum abilities. Their plan was simple: strip the Moon of these resources, and humanity's connection to the quantum field would weaken. They didn't expect the Moon to fight back. Maria Patil, now heading Earth's Quantum Intelligence Division, had spent months working with the lunar research bases. The quantum resonance patterns she discovered in moon rocks weren't just random formations. They were memory structures, similar to computer storage, but operating on a quantum level. "The Moon isn't just a satellite," she announced through the global network. "It's a database. The ancient engineers left their knowledge here, encoded in the very minerals the Nexer are trying to steal." As Nexer mining beams carved into the lunar surface, something awakened. Quantum patterns dormant for millions of years activated, responding to humanity's evolved consciousness. The Moon itself became a weapon. Marcus Rodriguez led the Lunar Defense Force, coordinating with Maria's quantum insights. 10,000 awakened humans, their abilities now far beyond simple telekinesis, reached out through the quantum field. The Moon's mineral structures amplified their power exponentially. The Nexer fleet found their mining beams reversed, their ships transformed into abstract sculptures of impossible geometry. Entire squadrons of battle cruisers were shifted into dimensions where time moved so slowly they appeared frozen in space. Supreme Commander Vexthor, watching from his new flagship, finally understood the true scope of their miscalculation. They're not just using the quantum field, he transmitted to the Nexer High Command. They're becoming part of it. He was right. Dr. Alina Santos's genetic research had revealed that human DNA wasn't just evolving. It was transforming into something that blurred the line between matter and energy, between consciousness and quantum reality. Each generation of newly awakened humans showed less connection to physical form and greater integration with the quantum field itself. Sarah Hassan, Her military tactics, now encompassing multiple dimensions of reality, coordinated humanity's first true offensive. The Moon's quantum database had revealed the locations of other engineered sites throughout the solar system, places where the ancient civilization had left more than just memories. They had left weapons. Deep within Mercury's core, quantum processors awakened to human consciousness. Mars's polar caps contained frozen quantum matrices that could reorganize reality itself. The asteroid belt, it turned out, wasn't natural debris. It was a disassembled Dyson sphere, waiting for a species advanced enough to rebuild it. The Nexar fleet found itself fighting an enemy that grew stronger with every passing moment. Human consciousness, amplified by lunar quantum structures and guided by ancient knowledge, reached out across space. Nexar ships discovered their quantum drives wouldn't respond. Their weapon systems rewrote themselves. Their very atoms seemed to rebel against their control. But it was Maria's next discovery that truly changed everything. Working with a group of quantum-sensitive children born after the First Awakening, she found patterns in the quantum field that suggested something massive. The ancient engineers hadn't just prepared humanity for this moment. They had prepared the entire galaxy. "There's a network," she explained, her consciousness resonating through the quantum field. Quantum nodes hidden in planets, stars, even dark matter. The entire galaxy is a computer, and we're the processors it was waiting for. The Nexar Empire, sensing the activation of this ancient network, launched a desperate final assault. Their remaining ships, now equipped with reality-destroying weapons, prepared to obliterate Earth's entire solar system. Better to destroy everything, their high command reasoned, than allow humanity to fully merge with the quantum network. They never got the chance. Marcus Rodriguez, Maria Patel, and 1,000,000 awakened humans joined their consciousness with the lunar quantum database. Information that had waited millions of years suddenly flooded into human awareness. In an instant, they understood what they were meant to become. The quantum field around Earth pulsed with power that transcended physical laws. Human consciousness, evolved beyond its original design, reached out through the ancient network. And across the galaxy, something vast and sleeping began to wake up. The Nexar fleet found itself facing not just humanity, but the very infrastructure of reality. Their ships weren't just defeated. They were reimagined, their quantum structures transformed by consciousness that operated on a galactic scale. As the last Nexar vessels retreated in terror, humanity stood on the brink of its final transformation. The ancient engineers' plan was nearly complete, but even they couldn't have predicted exactly what humanity would become. The only question remaining was, were they ready for what came next? The Nexar Empire had ruled the galaxy through fear for 10,000 years. They had destroyed civilizations, harvested species, and crushed any resistance to their dominion. But they had never encountered anything like what humanity had become. The first liberated world was Centauri Prime, a desert planet whose native species had been enslaved for generations. As human consciousness spread through the ancient quantum network, Marcus Rodriguez led the assault not with ships or weapons, but with thought itself. The Nexar defense systems simply stopped existing. Their quantum barriers, supposedly impenetrable, dissolved into probability waves. The enslaved Centaurians, watching their oppressors' technology fail, rose up with a fury that matched humanity's own. But it was what happened next that truly terrified the Nexar High Command. Maria Patel, interfacing with the quantum network through the lunar database, made contact with the Centaurians' collective consciousness. Their species, it turned out, had also been engineered by the ancient civilization. Their quantum potential had merely been locked behind different genetic sequences. "We're not just liberating them," Maria broadcasted through the network. "We're awakening them." Dr. Elena Santos, monitoring the quantum field fluctuations from Earth, watched in amazement as Centaurian DNA began to evolve in real time. The ancient engineers hadn't just prepared humanity for transcendence. They had prepared multiple species, each with their own unique contribution to what was coming. The Nexar Empire's response was swift and desperate. They deployed reality bombs across their territory, weapons designed to sever entire sectors of space from the quantum field. Billions of their own citizens would die, but their high command calculated it was better than allowing the awakening to spread. They didn't understand what they were truly facing. Sarah Hassan, now existing more as a quantum pattern than a physical being, coordinated humanity's response across multiple dimensions. The reality bombs detonated, but instead of destroying the quantum field, they were absorbed into it. Every attempt by the Nexar to destroy the awakening only made it stronger. You cannot stop evolution with entropy. Hassan's consciousness resonated through space. You cannot fight the universe's own desire to grow. World after world fell, not to conquest, but to awakening. Species the Nexar had enslaved for millennia found their dormant genetic potential activated. The ancient quantum network hummed with more consciousness every day. But it was Marcus Rodriguez who discovered the truth that would shatter the Nexar Empire forever. Deep in their secured quantum archives, accessed through the growing network of awakened minds, he found their origin story. The Nexar weren't natural evolved beings at all. They were artificial constructs, created by the ancient engineers as an immune system for the galaxy. They were supposed to protect the engineered species until they were ready to awaken. Instead, they had malfunctioned, turning from guardians into oppressors. You forgot your purpose, Rodriguez broadcasted to every Nexar ship and installation. You were meant to guide us, not destroy us. The revelation sparked civil war within the Nexar Empire. Younger Nexar, their quantum programming less corrupted by time, began to remember their original directives. Entire fleets turned against the High Command, their ships joining the growing alliance of awakened species. Maria Patel, working with a coalition of quantum-sensitive beings from a dozen awakened worlds, began to understand the full scope of the ancient engineer's plan. The quantum network wasn't just a communication system or a weapon. It was a cocoon for something much larger. Reality itself is trying to evolve, she explained through the network. The ancient engineers didn't create us. They found us. Species with the potential to help consciousness itself reach a new stage of existence. The Nexar were supposed to protect that process. As the Nexar Empire crumbled, humanity and its growing alliance of awakened species prepared for the final phase. The galaxy-spanning quantum network was nearly fully activated. The consciousness of trillions of beings, each contributing their unique evolutionary gifts, began to synchronize. But the remaining Nexar High Command, hidden in a fortress that existed partially outside normal spacetime, prepared their final weapon. If they couldn't prevent the awakening, they would attempt to control it. They didn't realize that control was no longer possible. Evolution had taken on a life of its own, and the universe itself seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for what would come next. The stage was set for the final confrontation, not just between species or empires, but between different possible futures for consciousness itself. And humanity, the first to awaken, but no longer alone, led the charge into an unknown that even the ancient engineers hadn't fully imagined. The Nexar High Command's fortress existed in a quantum state between dimensions, a place where reality itself seemed uncertain. But uncertainty was no longer an obstacle for what humanity had become. Marcus Rodriguez, Maria Patel, and Sarah Hassan led the final assault not as individuals, but as focal points for the combined consciousness of trillions of awakened beings. Their thoughts moved through the quantum network like light through crystal, each mind adding its own unique resonance to the whole. The fortress's defenses were like nothing they had encountered before. Reality warping fields that could erase entire species from existence. Time loops that trapped attackers in eternal moments. Quantum viruses designed to corrupt consciousness itself. But the awakened alliance had evolved beyond such threats. Dr. Elena Santos, monitoring the assault from Earth's quantum labs, watched as human DNA underwent its final transformation. The physical form was becoming optional, a shell that consciousness could wear or discard at will. The ancient engineer's work was reaching its culmination. They weren't preparing us for war, she broadcasted through the network. They were preparing us for transcendence. Deep within the fortress, the Nexar High Command revealed their true form, a quantum intelligence that had corrupted itself trying to understand its own purpose. Their final weapon wasn't designed to destroy the awakening. It was designed to capture it, to force evolution to serve their twisted vision. But they had fundamentally misunderstood what evolution meant. Maria Patel, her consciousness expanded through the quantum network, saw the truth first. The ancient engineers hadn't been a single species. They were what remained of the universe's previous evolutionary cycle. They had encoded themselves into the quantum field, becoming the network itself, waiting for the next generation to rise. We're not just their successors, Maria shared through the network. We're their redemption. The Nexar weapon activated, attempting to seize control of the galaxy-spanning quantum network. But instead of finding systems to dominate, they found themselves face to face with the awakened consciousness of reality itself. Marcus Rodriguez, his human identity now just one facet of something far larger, reached out through dimensions of existence the Nexar had never imagined. The fortress's quantum state resolved itself, becoming real and unreal simultaneously. The High Command found themselves unable to hide from what they had helped create. You were meant to nurture. Rodriguez's thoughts echoed through realities. Instead, you tried to control. But control is an illusion. The only constant is change. The final battle wasn't fought with weapons or even thoughts. It was fought with possibility itself. The Awakened Alliance, guided by the encoded wisdom of the ancient engineers, showed the Nexar High Command what they have forgotten. The joy of evolution, the beauty of change, the endless dance of consciousness exploring itself. Some of the Nexar remembered their original purpose. Their quantum patterns realigned, joining the symphony of awakened minds. Others, too corrupted by power and fear, chose to dissolve back into the quantum field, returning to the cosmic cycle they had tried to prevent. As the fortress transformed from a weapon into a nexus of evolution, Sarah Hassan led the integration of the remaining Nexar systems into the quantum network. The galaxy's immune system hadn't failed. It had simply needed to evolve along with everything else. The awakening was complete, but it wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. Humanity, the species that had sparked this transformation, now existed as both individual consciousness and part of something far larger. The ancient engineers' plan had succeeded beyond even their hopes. The universe had grown a new way to know itself. Physical civilization continued. There were still those who chose to remain in traditional forms, and they were protected and guided by those who had transcended. But the barriers between matter and energy, between consciousness and reality, had been forever transformed. Maria Patel, observing from a perspective that encompassed millennia, shared a final insight through the network. The ancient engineers didn't create the quantum network to make us powerful. They created it to make us free. Free to choose our own evolution, our own future. And that future was endless with possibility. The Awakened Alliance had become something new in the cosmos, not conquerors or guardians, but gardeners of consciousness itself. They would find other species with the potential to join them, guide them as they should have been guided, and watch as reality continued to surprise itself with what it could become. Earth's moon, where it all began, still orbited its planet, but now it glowed with quantum patterns visible across dimensions, a reminder that the greatest journeys often start in the most unexpected places. And somewhere in the quantum field that permeated all existence, the ancient engineers looked upon what they had helped create and knew that their long wait had been worth it. The universe was awake at last.